Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the Committee of International Taxation, ICAI, ICA Saurabh Loharuka, extend very warm welcome to all the participants who have joined us today for this important webinar on US income tax overview and opportunities for professionals. This is very first session in our dedicated series on US taxation, and it has been designed to provide members with deeper understanding of US income tax framework, compliance requirements, and emerging professional opportunities in this area. With globalization and increasing cross-border transactions, the role of chartered accountants in international transactions have become more significant. And this series will certainly empower professionals to expand their knowledge base and practice areas. We are truly honored to have with us distinguished dignitaries and speakers who have gracefully agreed to share their knowledge and expertise with us. We would like to welcome our chairman for this committee, CA Sanjay Kumar Agarwal, who is a fellow chartered accountant from Delhi, has been practiced for over 36 years, blending professional wisdom and vision and strong technical expertise. Elected to Central Council of ICAI multiple times since 2010 and has chaired and contributed to numerous key committees, shaping policies in taxations, corporate laws, governance, and digital transformations. Over to you, Sanjay sir.
Thank you, CA Saurabh. And I welcome on behalf of the committee to my fellow council colleagues, CA Sanjeev Sanghi. Then we have two star speakers today, CA Sarita Agarwal and my CA Iqbal Singh Grover, our very old friend. And we have our mentor and guide in the committee, Shri SP Singh, ex-IRS. I am also having the battery of my entire office with us. So, good afternoon to Indian viewers and good day or good night to overseas viewers. I extend my gratitude to all participants. Esteemed speakers, I have already mentioned, and my vice chairman in absentia because he is busy and chairing presently the Ethical Standard Board meeting, CA Chandrasekhar Basant Chetraji, and today's moderator, the role who's going to play for the question answer more, and I'll just give a small piece of advice to the all my speakers that try to give the answers to the issues which are clear and which are controversial or so. Wherever we are answering them, we must mention that disclaimer of the issued that the views are of the speaker's view. These views are not of the issued view. So, friends, as you know, the United States is not just in world's largest economy, but it is also a nation where the taxation is deeply structured, layered, and compliance-driven. The compliance is very important in US. The layers of federal, state, and local rules demand time, precision, and vigilance. Much like the income tax, we have our own dates. GST, we have our own dates. The US taxation system, they have their own dates. The data which I have been able to get from the public domain, it says that around 7.1 billion hours are being spent by the American taxpayer and over 460 billion US dollar annually on tax compliances. So see the amount of the scope which is available. And also the businessman spends around 1.1 billion hours out of 7.1 billion hours total taxpayers which they spend, and 48 billion US dollar on preparation, while the overall burden on the US economy exceeds 536 billion. That is the 1.8% of their gross domestic product, GDP. So these staggering figures shows that US taxation is not just an obligation, but a vast arena of the professional. Some of the key opportunities which are there in the market, everybody knows, outsourced tax compliance. So today's speaker, they are already doing those tasks, and they are going to explain us in overview that what is the taxation outsource opportunities also. Advisory support is also one of the uh, key area. All webinar which we had today. So I once again welcome all of you. Especially, I will request the moderator and SP Singh sir to see to it that the at least last of the 50-20 minutes is best for with every speaker for the answering of the online queries. And as I said, disclaimer from the issue, which is as a duty as a council member, that the disclaimer that these are the views of the our speakers. So with this, thank you very much, Saurabh you may proceed further with the Sanjeev Bhai said.
Thank you, sir, for your welcome remarks. Now we move forward and have an overview of the session from CA Sanjeev Sanghi, a Central Council member of ICAI and a partner with SM Banerjee and Company, bringing over 26 years professional experience in practice, digital transformation, and capacity building. Known for his innovative leadership, he has spearheaded transformative initiative with ICAI and beyond, driving into global standards, modernization, and empowerment of chartered accountants. Over to you, Sanjeev sir.
Thank you, Saurav, for coordinating the whole session. And I think this is a great initiative taken by the Committee on International Taxation, chaired by Sanjay Bhaiya, who is a visionary person with strong leadership quality, ensuring that each and every chartered accountants of today, get an opportunity across the world. And I think he's working very hard to make sure that all the viewers and all the members of the profession get a certificate course on US taxation. And he's working with his entire team tirelessly to make sure that that comes up in a proper shape and that gets shared to all the members at large in India and across the world. Let me tell you, the entire world is looking for doing, the mastery on US taxation. I also recognize the presence of two very esteemed speakers, Sarita Agarwal, who had more than 20 plus years of experience on actually practically doing the income tax returns for US clients, both on the individual level, on the business level, and on the corporate level. And to Iqbal Singh, who's itself a CPA from USA. So both these speakers are going to bring in immense value to this entire webinar, which will give you answers to all your questions related to the practical challenges which is faced, and what are the common terminology and how it is going to be taken care of going forward. In fact, Saurav also has a very good experience, forming US entities and many other things related to taxation. Is also a CPA, and we have SP Singh sir, who is moderating and being a mentor of this entire session, the entire team. Let me tell you, most of you have joined this session with one objective, Sanjay Bhaiya, is we need to learn US taxation, but how are we going to get into this business? Let me, in next 3 to 5 minutes, with my experience of 27 years into global practice, let me share with you, what is that which is required. Definitely, we are going to go through the nitty gritties and all of that. But the most important thing, the three-letter word is connect, engage, and inspire. So the first thing when we talk about connect, when we think that, well, if I attend this webinar, or I do a certificate course on US taxation, or I get to know all the knowledge about US taxation, will I get work? The answer to this question is that this webinar will give you a perspective, a vision that yes, this is possible, this is going to happen. Going through the certificate course will give you more and more knowledge. Your domain knowledge will get more expanded and get better way to do work which is going to be there. But getting into this business is completely a different ball game. For that, you need to learn how we can connect with professionals across the world. When Sanjay Bhaiya was talking about transfer pricing and international taxation, it's all about the domain knowledge. So how we connect with them, whether we want to connect them through social media, through emails. I don't know what is the right model. There's no perfect answer to these questions. Or you need to travel overseas, meet them into their networks and the conferences and try to build relations with them. But the word which is important is how we can connect with them and engage them. Now, when we talk about engagement, how that person sitting across the world is getting an engagement with you, which means they understand you, they understand your knowledge, your expertise, your values, and your legacy. That this person who is sitting on the other side of the world is a trusted professional, which Sanjay Bhaiya was talking about, is the person with that domain knowledge, is the person who can deliver, and that too with time and perfection. If that can be built, I think that's the first step. So, whatever it takes to get your office infrastructure, your entire systems, entire knowledge put together into a single platter and be offered to these prospective firms or clients or CPAs who are over there, I think that makes a huge difference. So connecting with them, engaging with them, and inspiring them with your leadership skills, with your knowledge, with your expertise, and with the entire information system which you have on that particular subject will give you a first very good advantage of getting into this industry. There's definitely a huge demand. In fact, let me tell you, almost 45% of the total population of US file their returns, compared to in India where we have only 6 to 7% of the people who file the income tax returns. This is a huge data, almost 7 times more. They are tax compliant, and that's the reason why there's a huge demand, and that too in a seasonal time. They do provide extensions, they come up with extensions for business returns and others, but most of it is happening in the first 4 to 6 months of the year where everyone is filing the returns. So this makes it more important for us to understand, apart from the technical knowledge, how we can create an ecosystem wherein we can get the work, we can do a maker checker concept, we can get a better turnaround time with the perfect quality, because a small mistake, a $1 mistake, will change the entire perspective and the goodwill of the organization. And when you're working with 50, 100, 200 people, so this perfection, the commitment, the deliverables are the most important factor. Apart from all the technical knowledge which we own and which we have and which we are going to acquire, the next important thing is that when we talk about cost advantage and the time zone difference, it is no more relevant at all going forward. When 20 years back we used to give that presentation that, well, we'll do it at lesser cost, well, we'll do it in the best time zone. Today everything is 24 by 7. So the objective is the talent arbitrage. That is what we need to position, how we can do better jobs than they're doing themselves, how we can bring more value into what they're doing is what is going to make our presence felt. So it's not about, well, you give me the work, I'll do it at lesser cost, or I'll give you at a better turnaround time. Those are definitely the objectives, but the more important right now these overseas firm is looking for is how you can create a value add system, how you can be more sticky, more sticky and more engaging with us, where you can be one of our trusted professionals, where you are just not a back office, you are a strategic office for us. You're not just helping us get our work done, you are basically working together with us for our client. So this is a shift of mindset, where you need a right mindset, a right skills which you need to acquire through these webinars, through these courses, and definitely all those different tools which you have around, whether you talk about all the different income tax softwares, which again the speakers are going to deal with, what are the different softwares you can use to get these returns done. So this is a journey for which my personal recommendation is, if you are looking to have work done from US, UK, Singapore, Australia, go and visit that place. Meet those people, try to network with them, try to get into their seminars and conferences, try to be a part of that system, understand the culture, the expectation. All these things becomes very, very relevant along with whatever we are trying to learn through this. So I think this is a great initiative taken by Committee for International Taxation, where they are trying to bring a right perspective to the right set of people, to make sure that if with this webinar and with this entire efforts which all the speakers are taking up together, even if 5% of the viewers who are listening to this get that opportunity, I think that is a great achievement. So I thank all the committee, Sanjay Bhaiya, the entire speakers, and all the teams for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts and experience. I'll be happy to answer any questions in the future. You can always connect with me, or you can talk to the speaker. They can always be there. But let's get into this business. Let's jump into this. Let's have a deep dive into it. And it is possible that you can run or do $1 billion business. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I think I fully endorse your views from the committee also. Over to Saurabh.
Thank you, Sanjeevya. Thank you, Sanjeevya. Now we move ahead to the introduction remarks from none other than SP Singh sir. SP Singh sir served in the IRS for over 2 decades, holding key roles such as Director of Income Tax International Taxation and Commissioner of Income Tax Appeals. He has negotiated tax treaties with 30 plus countries, contributed to India's transfer pricing regulations, and represented India at global forums. A former partner at Deloitte India, he is a renowned expert in international taxation. Over to you, Singh sir.
Thanks a lot, Saurabh, for giving such a nice introduction. It's my privilege, in fact, Saurabh, to to give the introductory remarks to a beautifully structured webinar. And special thanks to the speakers for clearly connect, engage, inspire, and then commitment, which is very, very important at the end of the day. That is what makes a difference between A from B. And last but not the least, most important is that whenever we are doing anything as advisor, we must add value in a very, very ethical manner. Thanks, Sanjeev ji, for nice overview of the session. As Sanjay ji said right in the beginning, that United States income tax regime is very, very complex, but its whole gamut moves around the mechanism which converts the provisions, which people think about being complex, and that provides opportunities to the professionals based on the voluntary self assessment. The system requires two things: identification and quantification of the demand in a very, very meticulous manner. There is year-round reporting regime which obligates employers to provide W-2 forms, banks to issue 1099s, and self-employed individuals to pay quarterly estimates. All of these enable the IRS to cross-check filing through third-party reports. The international dimension of their functioning is distinguished by requirements under the Foreign Bank and Financial Account Reporting System, and most important, Foreign Account Tax Compliance Act, that is the FATCA, which ensures transparency about foreign account and assets, imposing considerable penalties for non-compliance. Friends, the enforcement measures include automated notices, audits. All these things will be discussed in this webcast and in the follow-up webcasts. Audits, layered penalties for failures under payment errors or fraud with technology and data analytics enable the IRS to identify the areas which may result into penalty and other consequences. The regime's documentation intensity, technological sophistication, and continued evolution present challenges on the one hand, but also provides significant opportunities. Remember, friends, professionals who master reporting requirements, ensure accuracy, and facilitate constructive interaction with authorities become indispensable. This is what Sanjeev ji underlined when he was talking about networking and other aspects. They serve not only as technical advisors, but also as intermediaries, and wherever necessary, they become advocates of the rights of the taxpayers. Technology has transformed the compliance landscape. Take e-filing, automated data matching, and digital reporting platforms. All these demand precision and consistency. Advisors who take control over the technological solutions into their services will be the best positioned to support clients in a challenging environment. For Indian professionals, the opportunities are considerable. With increasing cross border investment and international service delivery, there is a growing need for advisors who can connect Indian tax considerations with US compliance requirement, whether in corporate filing, partnership taxation, or individual reporting. Expertise in capabilities and client trust. In essence, US tax system is demanding on the one hand and but is transparent. It rewards those who place compliance at the center and treat it as a source of opportunity rather than obstacle. For professionals, this landscape offers scope to widen, deepen expertise, add tangible value to taxpayers, and contribute to culture of lawful and transparent engagement with one of the world's largest and the most influential economies. Today, we are fortunate to have CA Iqbal Singh ji, CA Sarita Agrawal ji, and CA Saurav Loharuka ji with us, who are experts on US taxation and have in-depth knowledge of law and procedure, and who are able to simplify those things for our benefits. I once again thank CA Sanjay ji and the Scitex, the entire team, and fellow speakers for making this discussion possible. I am confident that today's deliberations will enrich our understanding and illuminate the opportunities available for professionals. Thank you. Over to you, Saurabh.
Thank you, Singh sir, for your in-depth knowledge and insight. Now we move on to the speaker. Firstly, we have CA Sarita Agarwal is a chartered accountant with 20 plus experience of outsourcing in accounting, taxation, consulting, and training for global clients. Over to you, Sarita ma'am.
Thank you, Saurav. I would like to start with a special thanks to Sanjay sir and Sanjeev Sanghi sir and the entire committee to give me this opportunity. So yeah, I have been working on the US accounting and taxation for last 20 years, and I would be very happy to share that that has been done under guidance of Sanjeev sir. He has been my mentor from the very start, and he has really helped me to come a long way to run this entire practice, and that is why I'm here. And Sanjay sir gave me opportunity to be part of this to create the awareness so that we can have chartered accountants be aware of a new professional opportunities or the opportunity which is always existing, but to focus on that and to utilize the best of our time to focus globally rather than just in Indian practice in the big way. So that is why we all are here today. So now I would just like to share a small PPT, and I would like kind of brief how we are going to move on with this session. Like me and Iqbalji, both co-speakers, we will be giving a brief in 10 to 15 minutes each of us. And then we will have more of panel discussion wherein we have Saurav who can ask questions to us, which will help to answer most of the questions of the participants. And towards the end, as suggested by Sanjay sir, we will open the forum for more questions for last 10 to 15 minutes so that we can answer any additional questions which comes up from the participants. So with the permission, can I share my screen? Yeah, I think I have the access to share the screen.
Yes, perfect.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. So, as it was rightly said by Sanjeev sir and Sanjay sir, is why we as Indian chartered accountants, we would think that why do we want to get into the big tax books of the US taxation and read those 6,500 pages and not work more on the Indian practice. So I would like to mention that it is just a minute. Yeah. Let me minimize this. Yes, now I'm fine. So I would like to say that, yeah, within those pages, we have a big $1 trillion economy of the US, and it gives us a global career opportunity overall. It will help us to enrich ourselves with a new tax laws because we as a chartered accountants, we with our studies and through the period of our articleship and becoming a CA, we have got a logical mind. We can study and kind of get into the books of any taxation and understand it very well and start practicing it, because that is what my experience said, that being an Indian chartered accountant, I'm not a CPA, but I never faced any difficulty in understanding their taxation, though it is more complicated as compared to Indian laws. But then we while we study, we understand, and we can easily make out how to figure out each and every part of it, study in between lines, and provide solutions to the client. So while studying the US economy, we came across that there are more than 160 million US taxpayers. So it increases our horizon that there are more and more people looking to file their returns, and they need experts who can help them to file the returns with a good tax planning, and also helping them to get rebates or the refunds which government of the US provides them while they are submitting their returns. Again, if I keep aside the US individual taxpayers, we have 35 million plus US businesses who are filing their returns on a yearly basis, and those are a little complex, but then if we can understand those and file it, our business horizon increases further. So we have a very big market if we are talking about getting into the US taxation altogether. Now, what is the reason and how does it open the opportunities for Indian chartered accountants? If you see these two graphs, which is here on the left hand side, that the CPA count from year to year has been declining. More and more people in the US are now not getting into the US CPAs, rather, they are getting into more different courses, which gives a bigger horizon for chartered accountants to enter to the market. So like the CPS count has gone down. The people who are undertaking these courses, that has also come down over here tremendously. So that obviously gives us a bigger market horizon. Moreover, as we know that why do people from the US, UK or other countries outsource India their work? Because we are the delivery partners to them and it is also cost effective for them. And the bigger part is we kind of place them that your office is running 24 into 7 if you are partnering with us or you are outsourcing your work to us. Because when they are sleeping, we are here in our daytime and we do their work. So by the time they get up, we can solve the queries of each other and then again they can take it forward from there where we left for the day. So that means when they are sleeping, they can give a quicker turnaround time to their client. Their work is done. We are ready with our queries and interacting with each other. We can get the work done in a much faster manner because their tax season is a period from January 15 to April 15. Within that period, the due dates both for the personal return and the corporate returns are same time. Like they have 1 month extra for the individual tax returns, which is from January 15 to April 15, whereas the corporate and the partnership returns needs to be completed by March 15. So in such short span of time, most of the people are looking forward to file the returns. Though they have options of extension, which can then be extended and filed in the month of September and October, but more and more people want to get free of their tax returns and focus on the business. So we see that maximum tax returns in the US is filed within the tax period or within the period when the actual tax returns are due, that is from January 15 to April 15. Now, how does it open the multiple pathways to success? It is not only the pure US citizens' tax returns which we are looking forward for. There are so many US like Indians who are residing in the US. They look their tax returns for NRIs to be filed by us. There are many US citizens who invest outside the US. So they are looking for, suppose there are US people who have invested in Indian businesses. So they are looking for people like us who understands both US taxation as well as Indian taxation and help them to file their returns effectively and in a correct manner. So that is where again a big horizon of business gets ready for us. And then as Sanjeev sir has been focusing on GCC, GCC itself is a big opportunity and it is expanding in a big way in India. That is why GCC is again a place wherein we can develop the business. And one important business in GCC sector would also be the US tax returns. It helps us. Moreover, I would say that when we start with the tax returns and we develop a good relation with the clients for whom we are doing the tax returns, by seeing the work of the tax return, they get confidence and they also are looking forward to outsource more accounting services for us besides tax return. So they would feel more comfortable that if we are handling their books of accounts, and then we are doing the tax returns, it's like 360-degree view for them and they get more confident that we understand their books. So by entering with the tax return, we are also opening doors for ourselves to get into their accounting services and other consulting services as well. And with my experience, I can assure you that with so many years, what I have seen that we as chartered accountants are much better accountants, as well as we keep a much better tax knowledge from the countries outside India. Specifically, if I talk about I have a good experience in the US. So from them, we really make more easy and more effective entries of accounting and taxation, which they always appreciate. So there are many myths, and I think when we come to question and answers, there would be many questions around these things that I don't know US tax law. Still, can I get into those businesses? like as I answered earlier, we can surely get into that business. Obviously, it's not that we don't need to study at all. We can take baby steps and enter into it. Like the individual tax returns in the US is very organized. We can start with the individual tax returns, considering it to be to a great extent same as what we do for here in India for an individual tax return. It can be that simple. There can be a salary file wherein a person just has a W-2, which is equivalent to Form 16 here in India, and they just want to file that in their tax return. So the form itself describes it so well that if we understand how to read the W-2 which has been received by a salaried person, comparing it with Form 16 and then trying to understand what is the difference and try to file that, it becomes easy for us. Then the second step, we take that along with salaried income, they have some kind of investment wherein they are getting some other sources of income, maybe fixed deposit interest or any such thing. So how those are accommodated. In the similar manner, step by step, if we go into every part of the form, we learn it and we can proceed with it. So once we are confident with individual tax returns, then we take forward to the other type of tax returns, which is 1040 NRI, which is for the non-residents. And then we can go for the corporate returns, which is 1120, 1120S, 1065. All these things we will discuss in detail today, as in like based on the what time permits us. So it is not at all like we can come out of this myth that if we do not know the tax laws in detail, can we get into business? Obviously, we can get into this business. However, we need to obviously enrich ourselves, learn further, and maybe take a small certification of enroll agent. So, enroll agent is something which allows, it is not only for the US people, it is for all over the world. Anyone can appear for the enroll agent course, which is specifically for the US tax returns, both for the individuals as well as corporates, and for representing yourselves to the department which they have taken out that course. So we can get into details of that course, we can study, we can appear for the exams, clear those exams so that we will be allowed to file the tax returns by ourselves. And then the tax softwares really helps us in a big way to file the returns. It is self-driven. If we know the sections, we know the tax rates, it would become very easy to feed in the information and to file the return. The same way as the government over here gives us the form which needs to be filled in, and each line of the form itself defines us what we need to fill in which section or which cell. In the same way, their software also aligns with the government's laws and the all the IRS's notices and whatever new amendments have come in. Those softwares itself takes care of it. If we know wherein to feed in the information and to check if the tax calculation and other stuffs are coming correct, it would be very easy for taking the tax return forward. So it's very important for us that if we want to file the tax return, yes, surely we need to do a small course of EA, enroll agent. I would say that not even a full time, with a small time investment of weekends, and I think this course can be easily completed within a time frame of 4 to 6 months. You don't have to leave your entire work and then sit and study, because that is obviously many times not possible for us as professionals, since we have our other engagements here in India as well. So just by studying on weekends, or maybe a day, an hour or two on a daily basis, will help us to clear this exam and be independent to file the returns. And yes, how can we gain experience if we want to get into the US taxation? Few kind of suggestions is, if we can find an organization which is already into US tax returns, might be we can join them to take internship on those returns. We can file, we can learn with them, so that it, like, the practical experience also helps us to be more confident. But yes, the opportunities over there increases for us, because their tax is more complex. They have federal income taxes, they have state income taxes, which all gets combined and we need to file them. Then they have local taxes as well. They have their payrolls are on weekly and bi-weekly basis. It is not on monthly basis. So whatever tax compliances they have for the payroll system, that is manifold times, which needs to be done on a monthly basis. Same way, then the same way as we file over here the like the TDS certificates of subcontractors of our employees for Form 16, all those again needs to be done in the month of January, which is a very easy kind of returns which we need to file for W2 1099s, which is again the TDS certificates over here. So those businesses also comes to India. If we learn those easy things, it gives a easy start to us and helps us to understand the other parts in a much better way. Now, there are few softwares which you can go through and see, because those are very easy. And if you learn those softwares, most of the tax returns get submitted through these softwares. Obviously, there are many more softwares, but the top ones which is used are Drake, Lasar, Pro Series, CCH, and UltraTax. So if we kind of have an idea about one or two softwares, how does it work? I think most of the softwares would be in the same manner. The UI UX may be a little different, but if we just use one or two softwares, exploring any software which our client is comfortable with, or they ask us to file the returns, it would be very easy for us to understand the rest of the softwares and start using that as well. As I told you, like sitting here in India and doing the US work, we are making best utilization of our time, because here in India, of work, or yes, we have other type of work, but we are not with the deadlines of tax returns. So by April 15 we are done with the tax returns, and if we plan ourselves well to complete all the tax returns which come from the US within the deadlines, we can then finish the tax part of the US and then focus on our Indian practice. So it gives us good opportunity to make best utilization of our team, ourselves, along with adding a new learning and adding a new horizon of business for ourselves. So now it's on us how you want to take it forward, whether we want to be just Indian chartered accountants by the year 2030 or in coming days, or we want to be a global CA where we have the world as flat and we are ready to work for any part of the world. So yes, having said that, just I wanted to give a brief on why should we get into US taxation, and is it possible for any one of us to get into that business. I hand over to Saurav. Saurav, do you want to take it over?
Thank you, Saritaji, for your in-depth knowledge of US market. Can we move forward to our next speaker, CA Iqbal Singh Grover, currently practicing as a founder partner in JVMK and Associates, having offices in Amritsar, Hyderabad, Bangalore, and Ludhiana. He is a certified QuickBook Online Pro advisor, providing bookkeeping services using cloud platform to various clients all over the world. Over to you, Iqbalji.
Thank you so much, Saurav. Am I audible?
Yeah.
All right, great.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Saurav. And first of all, let me have this opportunity to thank the Committee of International Tax, led by Sanjay sir and Chitle sir. And a special thanks to Sanjeev sir and SP Singh sir for organizing this event and having us here as speakers. So let me share my screen. I'll give you a brief background of how the taxes in the US are, and then we'll slowly build up on how we can start this practice of our own, where we can deal US clients and work for US CPA firms. So a lot of Indians who are currently doing the US work on taxes are either doing bookkeeping or they're doing taxes, and then their taxes are either the federal taxes or the state taxes. So in the US, the main source of income for the government, the central government, is the income tax, which is the federal income tax, which is governed by the IRS. And then there is the payroll tax. Unlike India, we really don't have a payroll tax except for ESI. The PF that we have is actually your retirement benefit that's accumulates for yourself. But in the US, the payroll tax is a big number game, because the US government provides social security benefits in a big way to all its citizens. So the payroll tax deducted from your salaries and paychecks funds that program of the government. So the Indian CAs, it's a good opportunity for us if you could learn how to provide, file tax returns, even the income tax returns as well as the payroll tax returns for the US. Income tax returns are filed once in a year, and then there are advanced tax payments like we have in India. But payroll tax is filed generally bi-weekly in the US. So it's if you're filing payroll tax returns for your clients, then it's a monthly revenue that you can earn from your clients, unlike income tax, which is once in a year. And now let me just show you around what the basic difference between the Indian and the US tax is. The US tax has a multi-level tax administration. Even the income tax, it has a state income tax as well as the federal income tax, whereas the Indian law just has the central income tax. We don't have a state-wise income tax in our country. The tax year in the US is the calendar year, which is January 1st to December 31st. And in India, it's the April 1st to March 31st. So like my fellow speaker, Sarita ma'am said earlier, it's a great advantage on the calendar that we have, because our tax season starts primarily in July when we start filing the individual tax returns, and it continues till October, till our business tax returns are filed. And then if you add GST, then probably up to December. So your busy season is July to December, whereas in the US, the busy season is January to April. So once our Indian taxes are done in December, once we're free from our compliance for a year ending, say 31st March 25, the US year ending 31st December 25 starts in January. So those 3-4 months when we're not having too much of work, or we have scope for providing this service, we can. So it's a great advantage on our calendar. Our staff, our resources which are unutilized or lesser utilized during Jan, Feb, March, April can be put to use here. So just like we have a capacity utilization, we can utilize our capacities better. In the US, we have a 37% federal tax. It starts from 10%, but it moves up to 37%. And this is just the federal one. The state taxes are also there, and there could be as high as 13% state taxes. There are a lot of states that do not levy income tax on their on their citizens, but a lot of them do. So if you're filing federal taxes, the state taxes come along with it. It's not that you have to learn something different. Most of the state taxes take their base from the federal income itself. Whereas in India, we have up to 42.7% of income tax, which includes surcharge and cess. In the US, we have property taxes which are levied by the local authorities, and similar is the case with India. We have municipal authorities that levy property taxes. In the US, we have one federal tax return and separate returns for one or more states. So if I'm living in New York, I might have to file federal income tax as well as New York state income tax. Whereas in India, we just file one income tax return. But then India also has GST, which is like every month or every quarter, you need to file 3 Bs and 1s. And then there's an annual return at the year end. That is missing in the US. Tax rates and slabs. States have taxes from 0 to 10%, but federal has the same tax throughout the country. Indian tax slabs for income tax are set up nationally, and it's the same for everyone. And we have new scheme, old scheme, but otherwise the tax slabs are set up centrally. US residency rules. So the logic of both the countries taxing the residents on the global income is the same. In the US, we have two kinds of tests that we need to pass. Citizens have to pay tax anyway in the US. The other two residency rules are, one is the green card test, which says that if you have a green card, you're a resident, you have to pay tax on the global income. And if there's a substantial presence test, which is the 183-day formula, it's very similar to the Indian system where we have a 182-day residence thing, that if you stay in India for more than 182 days, you'll be a resident and you need to pay tax on the global income. India also has that 60-day in the last year and 365 days in the last 4 years rule, which is similar to a weighted rule in the US. We'll come to that a little later. But the concept and the logic is the same in both the countries. Social security contributions. There's a payroll tax that needs to be paid by the employers every couple of weeks, and it has to be done throughout the year. Even if you're self-employed, you need to pay that tax. In India, we don't have a tax on the payroll. in terms of social security. Obviously, we have the TDS on the salaries, but it's not a social security tax. But in the US, we do have that as well. One great feature in the US, which was given as a suggestion as well in the Institute's post-budget memorandum to the government, was that having a married couples file a joint return. So in India, for example, if a couple is, say, a husband is working and the wife is not, the husband has to pay tax on his own income. The wife has to pay tax on her income if she has any. But the husband cannot use the wife's tax slab. In the US, there's a separate mechanism called the married couples who file jointly, which have a more bigger slab. So if one of the spouses isn't working, the overall tax of the family gets lower, because then the spouse's slab is also used up. They're not two separate slabs. There's a merged single slab for married couples who file jointly. So India does have a basic exemption limit, 2.5 lakhs or 3 lakhs, or now 4 lakhs next year. But the US does not have a basic exemption. Instead, it has a standard deduction. In India, we have a standard deduction just for the employees, 50,000 old scheme, 75,000 new scheme. But in the US, there's a standard deduction for everyone, whether you're employed or a businessman or whoever. There's a standard deduction available. It's very similar to how we have a basic exemption limit of 2.5 lakhs or 3 lakhs. In India, if we do not file our returns timely, we have to pay 1,000 rupee, 5,000 rupee penalty for late filing. Plus, we have to pay interest on whatever tax is unpaid. In the US, you have to pay interest on the unpaid tax. Plus, you have to pay a penalty for failure to file, and this is paid as a percentage of the unpaid tax and on a monthly basis. So if you're late in the US, the penalties are huge, because the unpaid tax, if there is any, is going to accumulate for a year or two or whatever till the time you pay the tax and file your return. The biggest thing in the US is that they don't have a GST, unlike India, where we have a state-wise GST, which is again a central thing run by the state and the center together. But there's a single law for both the states and the center in India. In the US, there's no GST. Most of the states have their own sales tax. I would say almost all the states have their own tax. There are some that don't. And most of the states generally charge sales tax only on goods. Only a specified service in some states are taxable. Otherwise, the goods only are taxable there. And the rates are specific to each state. Each state might have its own rates. So this is a big avenue for Indian CAs, because someone, say one of your clients wants to start a business in the US, and he does not know which state to start it from. So you can have a comparison between multiple states of what is the rate of tax in each of those states, so that he can plan it accordingly. If the states do not have sales tax, they might have a franchise tax or some of the other taxes that are there. And a very important or a different feature in the US sales tax is that some of the cities within those states also have sales tax. So maybe if, say, I'm sitting in Amritsar, which is where the sales tax would be charged by the Punjab government, there's no central sales tax, but there could be a city Amritsar tax as well, which is not in Jalandhar, Ludhiana, or a close by place. So your municipal corporation might have a sales tax also. So it's a very important decision where you want to start your business from, especially from the outsiders, from the people who don't live in the US, who go into US to start the business. It's a very important decision. Someone who lives in the US, it's also an important decision, but then they might have preference of starting a business at the place where they live. So they might not, it doesn't really matter, because they have to do the business in the place they live. But for an outsider who's going to start up new, it's a big decision. As I said, the US does not have a central GST. It has a statewide sales tax, and then there are local sales tax as well. I'll give an example of the substantial presence test that we just discussed a little while ago and how it's calculated. This is the residency tax. Like in India, we have 182 days in the previous year, or 60 days in the previous year, and 365 days in the last 4. So the logic is they want to tax only their residents, the people who stay in the US, the people who stay in India. So a similar test we have in the US, which is the substantial presence test. There, the stay in the previous year is just 31 days. but it also gives a weightage to how long you've been staying in the last couple of years. So all days in the current year plus one third days of the 1 year back plus 1/6 days in the 2 years back period. So, for example, if in the current year I have 120 days and 180 days in the last year, then I would do a one third of 180, which is 60. And if I have say 210s in 2 years back, so that 1/6 of that is 35. My total is 215, and I cross the 183 day limit, so I'll be taxable for my global incomes in the US. And there's a small flow chart. If I do not, I mean, if I'm not in the US for 31 days in the last year, I'm not a resident. I don't need to go further. But if I am in the US for 31 days, I need to see whether I'm in the US for a minimum number of days of the last 2 years so that the weightage comes up to 183. If it crosses 183, yes, I'm taxable. And those who have green card anyway are taxable whether or not they're in the US or not. This I've already discussed, the 182-day rule. Okay, so now moving on to how and why is the US tax knowledge valuable for Indian CAs? How we can serve the US clients? How we can benefit from this entire industry that's coming up in India on serving foreign clients, especially the US. The US, as Sarita ma'am said and Sanjay sir said, it's a big market. 40-45% of the people in the US file their tax returns, which is much bigger as compared to the Indian tax returns being filed. Then the US dollar, now right now it's about 87, 88, is a big factor for us to earn revenues. If someone who's not paying us well in terms of the US is still good enough as compared to my Indian clients, for example, because the dollar variation and the dollar increase every year makes my remuneration, even if it's less in terms of dollars, in terms of rupees, it turns out to be well. So what are the values that we can bring to the table when you're providing services to US clients? One is there's a great demand of cross-border businesses, especially after COVID, when the world is just a small village now anyway. A lot of people are moving across the countries, and a lot of Indians are moving to the US and the other way around. So there's a demand for tax expertise in the cross-border region. That's where the CAs can step in. As Sarita already said, the quality and the knowledge of Indian CAs is much better as compared to any other professional across the world. I've seen people from Australia, US, Singapore. Indian CAs have a great edge over the other ones, especially because we've cleared CPT, inter, final, 3 levels of examination, probably 15 to 18 papers we've cleared in our entire CA journey, as compared to US, where any person who's done a master's can start the CPA and he has to clear only 4 exams. So for an Indian CA, the accounting and tax has been into our blood for like so many years. Once you clear CA, you've been studying tax and accounting for 6-7 years if you add up class 11 and 12 as well. But in the US, there's a CPA who might just have cleared those 4 exams in the last. He may be a civil engineer, he may be a doctor who's just moved to the CPA profession and cleared those exams. So the level of knowledge and expertise that the Indian CAs have, especially for debit, credit, and accounting and taxes, is much supreme as compared to any other professional. And a lot of Indians have their families and friends in the US. So if you have cousins and relatives there or your friends, you can file their, because they're linked to you, they can, and you file their taxes anyway in India, you can help them file taxes for the US as well. Recently, India is, the last 5-7 years, India has been a hub of all the GCCs, and a lot of US CPAs are looking forward to Indian professionals as their partners for handling their day-to-day work. And once you build up that trust, even the strategic and the more advisory functions can be given to the Indian counterparts. There's a great professional opportunity, and if you're going to miss it, it's going to be a loss to you, and someone else is definitely going to do it. So if it's the best if you can do it yourself. Sarita ma'am mentioned about enrolled agent certification that's there. One more certification that is very popular in India right now is the CPA certification. The best part about CPA is that you can do it from India itself. You don't have to go to the US. There are 4 exams: accounts, tax, business, and one more. They've just added one more. They've replaced one exam with the other one. but they're not pretty simple, but very similar to what you've done in India. So accounting and auditing you've anyway done in India. The accounting exam, uh, financial reporting, and the auditing exam. This 80% same as what you've done in India. And the tax exam obviously is totally different, but the concepts and the structure is majority of it is the same. So if you can do it, it's a added advantage, because then the US customer or your US client would feel that, one, this guy is committed to serving US clients. That's why he's done a CPA. He will feel more value that you can bring, because in his mind you are an equivalent to his own country. So if I tell him that, I'm an Indian CA, he might know the toughness with which the course is designed and how we've cleared. But if I tell him that I'm an US CPA, he'll definitely know that, the brand value that the CPA carries within the US is great. Just like Indian CAs have a great brand value in India, if you can have this deadly combination of Indian CA and the US CPA, it's great. So one question that I used to ask when I hadn't entered this field, and now people ask me, how did you get work from the US and how did you start into this? Getting work from abroad is not easy. If someone say from Bangladesh or Pakistan calls you up, or finds you on Facebook and tells you that, we can do it at a much cheaper price, please outsource your Indian taxes to us, would you do it? Most certainly you would not. Because you don't know the guy, you don't know their economy, you don't know how the trust is going to be built up. Similarly, if you are, targeting a US based client or US based CPA for whom you want to provide these services, for him to have this trust in you, how can you build this trust? Only if the trust is there, then only he'll give you work. Okay, so these are some ways through which you can, build trust. One is your direct personal links, your family and friends in the US. You can, call them up, you can tell them that you're providing tax services or bookkeeping services. Then maybe they can once someday they can give you this work. Then if you have a social media presence where you can have a good LinkedIn, Facebook page or an Instagram page where you keep engaging with people and you keep posting good content, then you do get noticed. You definitely get noticed. And these days, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook are great ways to showcase your talent. Okay. Similar is having a web presence, your website where someone can go and see what services you provide, what are your qualifications, what is your background, see testimonials if any customers have given you. That's a great way of letting people know that you know stuff. Then participating in exhibitions and conferences in the US or wherever you want to target, Australia or Singapore, wherever, is a great way. Then you get to interact with people, you get to know what their problems are, what kind of solutions they're looking at. It's a great way to connect with people. Then if you can have a good account at Upwork or Fiverr or Freelancer, one of these freelancer platforms where a lot of people post jobs where, or tasks they want professionals to do. So if say I'm looking for a person to do a tax return for me, I'll post on Upwork, and a lot of people who are available and have spare time can, bid for that post, and then I can connect with them and hire them. So if this is a great way, I honestly started my journey through Upwork.com. That's where I got my first client from. And since then, there's been no looking back. Then acquisition of CPA firms. If you have the money and if you have the courage to do it, you can go to the US and buy a CPA firm. There are a lot of CPAs in the US who are retiring. The trend of the CPAs, as Sarita ma'am showed in that graph, is lowering down a lot. Not a lot of new entrants, but definitely a lot of past exits, in the sense that the old ones are retiring and the new ones are not coming. So once an old one or a senior CPA is retiring, he might want to sell off his practice and gain some good money, and that is where we can buy the practice and run up with a good client base on the start. And in a couple of years, the entire cost that you've paid to buy the practice gets covered up. And most importantly, you can't do this alone at all. You need to have a great team. You need to divide the tasks amongst yourselves. someone that could be doing social media marketing, someone in the US could be handling your client relation, on-site relations, and someone in the team who can manage the office, hiring, etc. So make a team, and make them stay with you for long term. That's a great way of growing fast and growing with them. And once you get the US work, hopefully you get it soon. Uh, you need to save some money on the TDS that the US business would be deducting from your paycheck. There's a W8 BEN form, which is your certificate of foreign status of beneficial owner. You need to give this form to your US counterpart, whoever is paying you, and most certainly he will not be deducting any TDS or any withholding tax from your paycheck. Uh, this is basically your. It shows that you're not in the US. You're from outside India, and there's a treaty between India and the US where the personal work or the services that you're providing are taxable in India itself. And so the W8 BEN form can help you save this money. One feature that's very basic for us. We might have done this in class 11 or 12, but it's very prominent and where people are very they discuss a lot in the US is the cash versus accrual method. Very basic in India. We generally follow the accrual method, especially after the GST, because we're issuing invoices within 30 days. So even the service sector, the CAs and the professionals are also filing their own taxes on accrual basis. And inventory-based businesses, anyway, in India, we prefer having the accrual method. But in the US, a lot of small businesses are following the cash method, which is you get income is only when you get the money, and expenses only when you pay the money, when the cash exchanges hands. So this is a big matter of discussion in the US circles, whether you need to follow cash method or accrual method. Any method that you follow or you choose when you start your business has to continue in the years to come. And if you want to change from one method to the other, you have to inform the IRS that you want to change. For businesses having turnover above 25 million in the US, it's mandatory for you to follow the accrual method. For others, you can choose either of these. And the inventory-based business also, you need to follow the accrual method. The small businesses generally prefer the cash method, and even their accounting softwares that they have in the US, QuickBooks, Xero, and all, they give you the reports on both bases, cash and accrual. You just need to click whether you want a cash basis report or an accrual basis report. In India, most of our accounting softwares, the traditional ones, Tally, Busy, generally work on accrual basis. But in the US, our QuickBooks, Xero, Zoho, all of these, you can just shift between either of the methods in a single go. Yes, the only important thing is you need to be consistent with what method you're using. All right. And one more avenue that we have in the US is, so someone who's starting a business in the US, he needs to know what form of company should he form, an LLC, a partnership, or C Corp, S Corp, and what state he needs to. So if you can, target your Indian clients who move into the US, entity formation is one task you can do from here. Registration for income tax and payroll and state taxes, everything you can do from here. Virtually all the services you can provide from here. But you need to have that confidence that you can do it. And let me tell you, if you can do it, if you have that confidence, you will do it much better than any other guy in the world. So you just need to have a confidence within yourself that is something that you can do. And I'm sure if I can do it, anyone can do it. Thank you. Back to you, Saurav.
Thank you, Iqbal Singh ji. This was a totally in-depth knowledge which our viewers have got from your deliberations. Now we have received few questions from our viewers. I hope you and Sarita ji will take up those questions. The first and foremost question which we have received is, why is US tax knowledge valuable for Indian CAs?
Sartana, would you
go? Yeah, sure. So basically, as Sanjay sir, SP sir, me, Iqbal, we all have been saying that it is not about important, why is US tax law important for us? It's about increasing your horizon, why you want to restrict yourself only to India. And we are not talking only about the US. It is a first step to get into the US market, but we are talking about why can't Indian chartered accountants go global? Why can't we expand our horizon and increase our efficiency, wherein in India's tax regime and the way the Indian tax planning is done, we have ample time. And I would say after December, like January to April or almost mid of May, we do not have much to do except doing consulting or things here and there. We have a team who are set to do those. So why not explore new horizon, add new learning to our daily life, and then proceed further. If we can do it, why not? That's the reason. So Iqbal, if you want to add anything to it.
Yes, it's a great opportunity. Why would someone want to miss out on earning money? January, February, March, when we don't have anything to do, we're just sitting idle, doing sessions and all. Why not cater to the US market and earn some money? And I tell you what, once you start getting paid in dollars, you'll start enjoying that work a lot more than what you're doing for your Indian clients.
I'll say, Iqbal bhai, that it is your flight to global. So from local to global, that is the key point.
Yes. Anyway, India is trying for Make in India. Why not serve from India as well?
The next question is, who can file the forms? Basically, the question is, I'll reframe it. How do I will obtain P10 to file the forms?
Sarita ma'am?
Yeah. So actually, to take a P10, there is a process. Obviously, first you need to have an I-10, which is a kind of a process which needs to be completed by you. You need to, there is a kind of an involvement of your passport, some documents which needs to be there. There are consultants who kind of provide you those things. And once you apply for that, then once you have the EA course done, you have to have that certificate of EA course. And then if you apply, you get the P10 number as well. So it's an answer which cannot be given in such short span. It's a process which needs to be followed, but though the process is very organized, and if you have all your documents in place and you have already taken your enroll agent registration number, then it becomes a very easy step to get a P10 number. Everything is done online, no offline process, nothing to be coordinated over phone. It's just a self-driven process which you can easily do.
And I think, Sarita, on the US tax website, more material is available on this account.
Yes, sir. Their websites and yeah.
If you can give any link, so you can post in the chat box so that viewer can be viewed about it.
Sure, I'll do that.
And the next question is, how does joint filing differ between US and India?
So in India, we don't really have the joint filing concept. I am filing my separate tax return. My wife is filing her own tax return. And say in India is say 2.5 lakhs, there's no tax. So 3 lakhs is no tax. If I'm earning 6 lakhs and say my wife is not earning any money, then I need to still pay tax on that 6 lakhs. But in the US, when you're filing jointly, then the tax slab gets merged up to 6 lakhs for no tax up to 6 lakhs. So you're essentially using the slab benefit of both the spouses in a single return, and this helps us saves tax. But the major distinction here, or the major flip side, is if both of us are earning, then the joint filing might not really be very helpful. Yes, it is helpful in a lot of cases where one spouse is earning less and one is earning more, or one is not earning at all. Then joint filing jointly is a great thing. Otherwise, if both of you are in the highest tax slabs, then this might not be a very useful thing. And in India, we don't have this concept at all.
Sarita, if I am correct, in US, once you get the married, that doesn't mean automatically your returns will be filed jointly. You have to give the consent, and all the accounts, etc., will be clubbed, and then your all assets will also be shared. So that is also one point which whenever there is a marriage or something, so you need to confirm. Am I right?
Yes.
Absolutely, sir, 100%. Like it's totally on us. Even if we are married, it is upon us whether we want to apply to file jointly or we want to file individually. So there's no such like hard and fast rule that we have to file jointly if we are married. It is totally on our discretion. We can see our tax planning, what is more beneficial for us, taking both the incomes together, because there are such kind of rebates and other stuffs based on the dependence which we have. We can check all the calculations, and based on that we can then apply for filing jointly.
Our in India, Iqbal, the assets which are transferred to spouse without condition will be clubbed. So that is not there. So this is the point we must distinguish. Yeah,
Right.
please continue.
And I think we sent this in memorandum to the in the budget that India should have a joint filing system as well.
We have sent. Yes, we have sent.
The next question is very interesting one, specifically to Iqbal sir. Which businesses are required to use accrual method? It is from your presentation.
Okay, so every year they come up with a new number of a turnover base. C Corp, generally the listed companies and the companies are supposed to use accrual method, and then we have a turnover of 25 million, I think, or 26 million. Every year they keep increasing it, adjusting on inflation. That any business who has an average turnover this number in the last 3 years, that is supposed to have accrual filing. Otherwise, you can use cash filing at all.
The next question is, can an Indian form a company in US without having any queries in India?
Without having any
queries, whether any discrepancies?
No, I didn't get you.
Yes.
Sorry,
You can I think yeah, if I understand the question correctly, it is like without having any problems or any queries for which I need to visit department and get the company formed. If that is the question, yes, very easily you can file the you can create a company in the US. We sitting over here, we have created a company in the US wherein all the directors and the shareholders were outside the US. It's just that you have to have compulsory an ITIN number or the SSN number of the US. Then only you can form a company over there. All the directors should have that, and each and every process is very streamlined. Moreover, opening a bank account also, there are so many options now available to open an online banking account wherein you do not have to be physically present over there. Everything can be done online, and the bank account also gets opened within a period of couple of days. So it is highly possible without any queries.
Great. The next question is, what are the main sources of revenue for the US federal government?
The federal government has the major revenues are the federal income tax, then is your payroll taxes, then is your excise tax, which is on some products, then the US tariffs that the Trump has started so much in the last few days. That is also good. The custom duty that we have in India, the similar thing is tariff in the US. Yes, these are the major sources, but federal taxes, your income tax, and the payroll tax, these are the bulk ones.
The next question is, what are the social security contributions in the US similar to in India?
See, in India, once you're an employee and your employer needs to deduct ESI from your salary and your TDS, which is your income tax, and your provident fund. So provident fund is your money that you're going to get later in life at the time of retirement or at the time of change of job. So this is your money that's coming back to you. Only the ESI is your health insurance kind of thing. We don't have any other social security tax. In the US, the Medicare and the social security FICA and all these are taxes which you don't have a direct correlation or this money will come back to you. No, this money is for the general good of the entire US population for their social security. So in India, we do have NPS and all, but that's again your money coming back to you. In the US, the major difference is your social security taxes do not come back to you directly. It's like not an indirect tax, but it's not your money that's coming back to you. It's your money that's going for the good of the entire country.
Next question is the US CPA necessary for practice or EI sufficient for most of the tax preparation opportunities?
Saritam, would you like to take this?
Come again with the question.
Is the US CPA necessary for practice, or is an enroll agent sufficient for most tax preparation opportunities?
You don't need to be a US CPA for preparing the tax return for the US. EA course, which has been implemented by the United States, is actually only for the tax returns. It does not have any accounting knowledge or your auditing knowledge. It is for purpose of submitting individual tax returns, corporate tax returns, and representing your client to the IRS. So all these three things are covered in the EA course, and if you do that, you are independent enough to start the practice with US taxation.
Let me differentiate this with the CPA as well. So in India, just
Right.
like we have a CA where a person can do audit, person can do tax, person can do what all that needs to be done for business, finances, and all. Everything that can be done by the CPA in the US. However, EA is restricted only to the income tax part of it. So all the things, costing, auditing, financial accounting, bookkeeping, everything, a CPA might have an edge over the EA. But otherwise, just for the taxes, the EA course honestly is more detailed for taxes as compared to the the CPA taxes part.
Good. The next question is, how do I build trust with US taxpayers as an offshore professional? A critical one.
So let me share my slide again. I think I had this. So let me come back to that question again. If someone from say Bangladesh or Pakistan tells me that Iqbal, I can do your tax returns at 1/3 of the cost, please hire me. Would I hire him or her or not? Most certainly I would not, because I do not trust a person from an overseas. I might hire someone from Delhi, Mumbai, or someone from within India because I know the level of skill that he has if he's a CA. But someone from a Pakistan or Sri Lanka or Malaysia or wherever, if he's a CA, I might not hire him because I don't know what quality CAs are that is that country producing. I know my country for sure is doing great job, but for other countries I might not. Same thing replicated to the US side. If a US citizen or US born and brought up guy, how will we tell him or how will we convince him that Indian CA is a great professional, he's trustworthy, he's bound by ethics, he's done like tremendously well academically, that's why he's a CA. How can I convince him this? I can convince him through a few methods which I've shown on my screen. One is if I have a direct family link, he knows a family friend of mine or my cousin of mine in the US, I can directly ask him to meet that guy and tell him that he's a great guy. So a direct referral would be a great job. If I participate in their exhibitions and conferences and I meet people, and once I meet, I talk to them, I discuss their issues with them, and I tell them the solutions, they will get to know that Iqbal is a great guy. He knows a lot of things. Even if he's an Indian, he's not in the US, I can still hire him. I can have a great web presence. I can have a great social media presence where I can distribute knowledge or give away knowledge free of cost. And it's not knowledge giving free of cost. I'm learning while the time I'm preparing that article or something, and it's a great way to help to get in touch with people or get people to know you that this guy is there who's doing good at his job and he knows quite a bit of stuff. Then sorry, you need to have a great team at the back end who can do stuff with you, who can build this business with you. Doing it alone is not going to solve any purpose. If you're doing it alone, you'll be executing the task yourself, you'll be meeting the people yourself, you'll be writing content yourself. I mean, it's not something that you can do. Everything of this you cannot do on your own. So you need to have another CA in your office who can write content, another guy who can be in the US and meet people. So having a great team also does help you get work and building trust across the globe.
I'll just add to it, like if we are really looking to get into this business in a big way, we should try to visit the US at least once, which even Sanjeev sir was pointing out, and try to attend conferences like Accountex and such other accounting conferences which happens in the US, which is particularly for the accounting market. So if we go there, the way we network over here, if we attend any conferences or summit here in India, our purpose is to network with the new person whom we meet over there and kind of discuss about the business and the common synergies which we have. In the same way, if we visit the US and we try to connect with people, that really helps a lot. Like if they know, if they see you physically, they have met you, and if they find a possible synergy, the first name which will click in their mind is the person whom they have met rather than they have met by any other mode. So if possible, do visit US if you think that it works out. And when you are there, you can also meet the references whom you know, your friends, and the persons with whom you have connected in LinkedIn. If they provide you some time, you can also go and meet them personally, one to one. So having all these things together, create your marketing plan, create some good websites. Like it is very important because people over there knows you more by your website, your social media, which obviously Iqbalji has already said. If you can have a good presence over there, then along with your presence, they know you more from your other sources, and that helps them to take a good decision and like build a trust on you and then start the business with you.
And I tell you what, it's just the first client that might take you long. It's just the
Yes.
first client. Once you have the first client, and I'm pretty sure that he'll be a satisfied client once you start serving him, then you can bank on his shoulders. Yeah, please refer me to someone. Please refer me to someone.
Right.
And if he's really happy with you, he'll happily refer. He'll happily call his own friends. You need to talk. You need to talk to this guy from India. He's a great guy. And but the thing is, first getting a first client and then creating great value for him at a reasonable price, staying on top of his demands, giving him the best service around the clock is will help you get more clients, a lot of more clients from him. And once you get more clients, and then repeat the process, and then there are more clients. So yeah.
And I think Iqbal and Saurav both will vouch on that. That, like as Iqbal correctly said, that if we really focus, or like when we get one client and we try to focus to get them the best quality service and be available for them, you don't even need to say that. The best part is they refer you them like by themselves to the other person whom they know and they are looking for accountants. And the second part is you don't need to follow up them for payment. You see that the payment comes your way. Once your work is done, they ask you, they follow you up that please share the invoice. I want to make the payment. So that's the best part of the culture which we have seen in the US, that once they are satisfied with your work, you don't need to ask about the payment. They are already available to make the payment. And next time when you are kind of saying them any kind of amount for the extra service which they are looking for, they don't need to negotiate with you. They are happy because they know that whatever they are paying, they'll get value for that work.
And adding here to the payment side as well, generally when you're talking to US guys, we're either paid on a monthly fixed fee or an hourly basis. And they trust you blindly when you tell them, you've taken 10 hours, 20 hours, 50 hours.
Yes.
They trust you blind. They'll not even blink an eye asking you why did you spend 50 hours on this? It was just a 10-hour job. No, if you've spent it and you tell them, they'll agree to it, they'll pay you. However, if that happens regularly, they might feel that this guy's an expense. They won't feel that you've overcharged, but they'll definitely feel someone else can do it in 10 hours. Why is he taking 50 hours? Then they might shift. So you need to be very loyal to them in the sense that you can't overbill, but they'll not challenge your hours. They'll never challenge your hours. Their culture and their society trust each other, and so that's how they trust us, and they pay us whatever we ask for.
Yes. Yep.
The next question is based on client only. Which type of client should I target first? NRIs, small businesses, freelancers, or US expats in India?
Sarita ma'am, would you like to go for it first?
First in, first
Yeah,
out.
I would.
Before.
Rightly said. He has answered the question. Sanjay sir has helped us. So yeah, like it's about whoever comes to you. Like you need to be ready. Like if it is an NRI, you can do the return. If it is a US, like whatever comes your way, you have to. Like you can't say that what will be the first whom you will serve.
See, for the NRI, they anyway come to you to file their own Indian income tax for their interest income, property sale, or whatever. So that's a good starting point. You can tell them, I can file your US taxes as well, or if you're a business, I can do bookkeeping as well. That's a starting point because then they're anyway connected to you. But if you want to start afresh, you don't have any NRI clients, I would say having a bookkeeping firm or a CPA firm hire you is a great thing. Why? Because then you learn how the work is done, what softwares they have. If you've never done this before, then bookkeeping or a CPA firm hiring you is a great thing for your value addition, for your knowledge addition, and getting the courage of dealing directly, talking to the US guys. All right, but if you already have some open avenues, keep trying those. But I would say going or talking to CPAs or bookkeepers or EAs might be more helpful because then you're also learning along with earning.
Right. Just out of the way, like not related to this question, when we were talking about learning, along with getting EA certificate and knowing the tax softwares, we should also learn some cloud accounting softwares, which is being widely used in the US, like maybe QuickBooks, Xero, and such other softwares. Because when you are going to prepare the tax return, their expectation would be that if they provide you an accountant access of the accounting softwares, you know the software, you can also kind of review their books and then prepare the return. And if you find any gap, you let them know. So it is very important that you are like very much acquainted with the accounting softwares which you can expect your client to be using, along with the like knowing the tax returns.
Okay, just about adding more to the softwares, bookkeeping softwares, yes, it's a great avenue. Bookkeeping is again done on a monthly or a daily or a weekly basis. So the client keeps paying you, you keep interacting with the client time and again. But if you want to do just the taxes, here is a page from the IRS website, which is the US tax website, which has free tax softwares, and this is there on their portal. It's free for a certain level of incomes. It's not free for now for everyone. So if your income is say less than $84,000 and age is between 20 and 59 or whatever, it's free. So if you can, I'll post this link in the chat box as well. You can go on this website. You can try a few softwares, and then you can tell people that you know these softwares if you know them, and that's how you can practice at least on these softwares.
The next question is, what is the process, cost, and time required to become an EA, and is it effective?
EA.
It is, yeah, it is the need of the hour. If you are looking to do US tax returns, obviously you have to at least be an EA. And I think once you are a chartered accountant, you have already learned to study hard, prepare for your exams and give, then I think EA would not be so tough for you. As I said in my part of session, that if you are giving maybe on a daily basis an hour or two, and on a like weekend if you study, and I think you can easily become an EA in a period of 4 to 6 months. There are it's just based on tax returns, so you need to prepare yourself that you are preparing for one paper out of the 8 papers which we used to give for our CA exams, and you study accordingly and you can become an EA. You need to be an EA. That helps you in 2 ways. Once, to get an in-depth knowledge of the subject, and secondly, to be independent. Otherwise, you prepare the returns, but then you have to be dependent on an EA or a CPA to take it forward. But if you are an EA, you are an independent person to complete the entire steps. Saurabh, I think you were trying to say something.
Just to add on, in EA, we can just study one paper, give one exam. Simultaneously, there are 4 papers only. So you can take one paper at a time.
Yes, yes.
Just adding to this, the confidence level that this, once you've done an EA or a CPA brings to you, shows on your face. And once you're talking to a prospective client and you have this confidence level going in with you, he'll definitely get converted as a client to you. So, and if you might have more knowledge, but maybe that certification is missing, the level of confidence might be 20-30% down as compared to someone who has that credentials with him. So knowledge definitely does make an impact, and the confidence level with which you talk to your client makes a big impact. And yes, so having a qualification of an EA or a CPA, either ways is great to have a first mover's advantage with someone.
A very good question from one of our viewers. How do I protect myself legally when serving US clients?
So I think first thing is obviously when you are starting to work with them, you have to have an NDA signed. You have to have an agreement with them or whatever you are doing with them. And along with that, you need to have like when you are filing the returns and you are always like showing it to the client for their approval. Obviously, you have to have a knowledge, and then you are seeing that you are filing the returns, and if things are good and if you know that you have made some mistake and whatever is the cost to correct it, you take it on yourself. I don't think so there should be any issue. But yeah, other than that, I think Iqbalji, if you have to add something to this.
Having an engagement letter signed with the client or telling him what all are my scope of work that I'm doing, what are the expectations that I have from you. Because a lot of times we're chasing with the clients to give us the documents timely, and they don't give us timely. We always, towards the deadline date when it's close by, that's when they will give their documents to us. So having a clearly written engagement letter, giving your scope and your expectations from the client, and having it documented and signed from him is a great way to start. Plus, yes, as Sarita ma'am said, if there's a mistake ever, and it's not going to happen regularly, maybe in the initial phases it might so. If you can cover up the cost and if you can just tell him that I'll pay for the mistakes if any, it's a great trust advantage. He might not ask you for that payment, but just getting him to build trust on you is a way.
Yes.
If you can just say that to him, not required,
Right.
but just helps you gain trust.
Yeah, and I would also say that, like as Iqbalji said, that many times we have to chase for the documents, and they being busy with their business, they might delay in giving you the documents, and they might land up giving you the documents towards the end of the due date, when you are almost approaching the due date. It's always better that either calling them or like having a team conversation with them asking for the documents. You always make an habit of sending an email so that you have a written communication that you have been following them up. And if you know that your time might not permit after a certain period to submit to do their tax return because you have other obligations which is already on your way, you might also write that if you are giving me a document after a certain date, I will have to file an extension for you, and your return would be filed with the extension, like within the extension extended due date, and it won't be filed within the actual due date. So if you keep your communications very clear and in a written format, you can always safeguard yourself.
Yeah, and still the client is like a bad client, not paying, not giving you documents timely, and you don't even feel that he's going to be a change and improve in the future. Learn to say no and keep away
Yes.
from such clients, because one bad client is going to spoil your reputation on social media as well, and he's going to bring you sleepless nights even when you're working for your other clients.
Very true.
The next question is based on ethics. Do we need to surrender our COP if we practice in US market with CPA license? If there is an Indian CA is also practicing in US with CPA license in US.
Sanjay sir,
I think no, not to surrender. Not to surrender, because you are doing practice in India also, no? No issue. If the question of dual certificate will come, then it is something which is to be answered. This is not a dual certificate you are holding, and you are holding something. You can have any other degree, any other qualification, and this is the allowed within Regulation 190A to do taxation, etc. of anywhere.
Thank you, Sanjay sir. The next question is, which is already answered by Iqbal sir, how is the shortage of CPAs in US opening doors for Indian professionals? It was there in your deliberation. You can just sum up once again.
it's opening in a big way, big way. You've already heard our council members earlier say that we'll have so many CAs by 2047. Why is that? Is the Indian business increasing so much that we'll have multiple times of CAs? Yes, Indian business is also doing well, but the opportunity that we're getting from global other countries, especially the US, will pave way for a lot of work. It's already doing it. It's already paved the way, but it's also doing it a big way in the coming years. So, as I said earlier, if you are not doing it, someone else definitely is doing it, and you're losing out to him. So it's best if you can do it on your own and build a practice of US taxes and bookkeeping and whatever. It will be for your generations. They'll thank you that my forefathers did have done a great job.
Thank you. The next question is, what is the US certification can Indian CAs pursue to strengthen their profile? Again, the same question is based on EA and
So
CA.
basically, EA is one if you're focusing just on taxes. But if not, if you want one more, then CPA, then there's CFA, but primarily EA and CPA. These are the ones more aligned towards Indian CAs.
The next question is, should I partner with US CPA firm initially, or should I practice on my own and try to get clients? It's FIFO.
Hi. I would say, yeah, obviously FIFO, but then obviously partnering with a CPA firm is very helpful. As I think Iqbalji said in one of his answers, that it helps you to learn more and understand their culture, understand the requirements, and like the way when we are working here, when we become a chartered accountant fresh, doing your independent practice or becoming a partner in a CA firm, it's a difference. If you're practicing all on your own, you are doing everything from your or like on your own, so it takes time for you to learn step by step and then perform. But if you are joining a CA firm with some experienced partners, it always help you to accelerate yourself better, learn more, and then be a better version of yourself in front of the client and while delivery. So the same thing over here. If you get an opportunity, it is always better to first partner with a CPA firm, make your understanding better, and then in the future you might decide what is better for you based on your experience and based on the number of years you have worked together.
I'll add to this answer to which that I missed earlier. If you're partnering with a CPA firm, there's a plus point of learning and all, that's already said, but there's also plus point of having a bulk work with you. If you're looking for single clients, you might have to find 10, 20 clients to, have a good monthly income. But if you find a CPA firm who's partnering with you, then you get a lot of clients upfront. They'll give you 50 clients, 100 clients to start with, which is a great learning as well as great money earning as well. So if there's an option, I would say CPA firm, partnering with a CPA firm is great. But anyway, don't leave out on the single individual clients as well.
Iqbalji,
Yes, sir.
just word a caution. As per Chartered Accountant Act, you cannot have a partnership. You can bill them directly to for their client, and you cannot pay them commission also. So these are the two things which we must keep in mind.
Exactly.
Because it is not permitted as of now.
Yes. So yes, exactly. So we can't be an official partner, but we can be their back office support or helping them provide.
And you need to build up. You need to build this CPA itself, and they will bill to their client. The another, if you are billing to their client directly, you cannot pay the commission to them, brokerage to them. They may be engaged for services or professional advice from, but it should not be based on any percentage or any fixed formula. You have to be careful when you enter into. Though we are in the process of opening up also. So wait, but as on today, it is not permitted.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanjay sir, for the knowledge. The next and the last question, we have n number of questions, but due to time constraint, we cannot take all. The last question is this: how do I guide Indian startups expanding into US on entity choice and tax?
Darita ma'am, do you want to take this first?
How can we come again?
How do I guide Indian startups expanding into the US on entity choice and tax?
So based on the nature of the business, based on the revenue which they have as of now, and in which part of the US they are actually expanding their business, based on that you can always suggest them. It depends upon case to case. in many times it is beneficial for them to start a 1065 or 1120s, but then it will totally depend upon case to case. Each startup is of their own type, and like in the US there are so many different states, they all have their own tax laws. So what is the beneficial status for the client at that time based on the state where they are looking to like expand their business? It would much depend on that. Iqbal, you want to add to it?
Yeah, so very rightly said. Deciding what choice of entity you want to have is not a single question. There's a lot of background work that needs to be done with it. There's need a lot of background check of the client that needs to be done. What are his goals? What are his ambitions? What is the nature of business that he has? Is he looking for more partners? Is he looking for more investors, or coming up with an IPO somewhere down the line? Which state he want to start the business? Where does he want to sell his products? Whether it's goods or whether it's services, whether he'll be hiring locally or globally. There are a lot of questions that need to be answered. And I think the committee already has in pipeline more sessions coming up on various aspects of tax. What are the kind of entities? What are the conditions of having these entities? What are the criteria that you need to fulfill to be structured in a certain way? I think the Committee of International Tax already has this series of webinars that's coming in, and these topics are going to be discussed in detail in those sessions. So right now it's not the right time to answer these questions, but going forward you'll have more speakers and more sessions for these questions.
Just add on to it, our next webinar is on 9th. Hopefully we'll get more detailed follow-ups on these questions in the next webinar. Moving ahead, can we have some inputs from SP Singh sir on the webinar which we had just now?
Thank you, Saurabh. It's a very illuminating session. It started with Sanjay ji giving a very high-level overview of the things which we would be expecting. And in between, he interjected with his experience and the guidelines of ICAI for ensuring that our members do not fall on the wrong side of any regulation and are able to provide the services. The one thing which runs common throughout the day, I mean, by Sarita ji, Iqbal ji, and Sanghi ji, is that US tax law is complex, but at the same time, it provides opportunities. And when it comes to providing opportunities, it is Iqbal ji and Sarita ji who have identified which are the areas of opportunities, how they can be, can be used, whether it is the virtual presence or the physical presence, whether you go alone or you go with some entity already established in USA. And the bottom line is that do not wait for one particular thing to happen. You start with whatever comes to your hand and use it. The thing which comes very clearly from the speakers is that when Sanjeev ji underlined three of in fact five elements, that is the connect, engage, inspire, and then commitment, networking. These are the five elements which are essential for any practitioner. I mean, whether it's a chartered accountant, and more so for the chartered accountants. And these have been repeated by Iqbal ji as well as Sarita ji when they talked about how one can go about, whether it is through the relations or the family members, or going and attending the seminars in USA, building up the network. And that is how the chartered accountants in India need to build up their practice in USA. Sarita ji's presentation was a really thing which is very enlightening. She analyzed the myths of the US taxation, which people have, and she have clarified and simplified for the chartered accountants to practice. The mastering the technology is the one message which she has left, and I'm sure all the members must have noted the various the sites which they can use and how to, because there is a lot of material, and in fact Sanjay ji has said right in the beginning that a lot of material are available at the site of IRS, which can be used. One need to build up the knowledge with the help of those. And Iqbalji talked about the differences between US and India tax laws, highlighted, I mean, the multiple layer of taxation in US vis-a-vis the centralized taxation system in India, the various I mean compliance mechanisms which are in US, and made aware how those can be they complied with the best of the capacity. It's the message which comes out very loud and clear from today's seminar, is that you should not depend on one thing. Use all the avenues which are possible for building up your knowledge, for building up your network, and for initiating or starting that. You have time after completing the Indian compliance, I mean, requirements. You have time, rather than sitting, I mean, and idling. Go and build up this practice. It's an opportunity which is a glory. I mean, and with the amounts which both the speakers talked about, and the message which they have conveyed, is that they are not penny wise. If you are able to provide a very good quality of the services, ensuring that you are not overcharging, of course, then they eat from your hand. That's very, very important. But that trust has to be built up, has to be retained, because trust is one thing which takes a long time to build and can be broken in one go. So just avoid that, the last bit. Always remain on the right side of the law. Always give the advice which you are 100% sure about, I mean, that getting accepted by the IRS, because IRS is a tough I mean team to deal with. But if you have the documentation, if you have everything, I mean, at hand and prepared in the right manner, I'm sure that there will be no the challenge. And one question was taken up by Saurav, where somebody had asked that how one can get through without being questioned. It's a very impossible to say that you will get through without question. Depending upon the amount, yes, you may get I mean questioned after 2 years, 3 years, and therefore documentation becomes very, very important. I think these are the messages which come loud and clear from the today's discussion. Yes, Saurabh.
Thank you, sir, for your insight. Can we have a final concluding remarks from CA Sanjay Agarwal?
Thank you, Saurabh. Though SP sir has done the justice for the presence and attending the all queries of the participant. And thank you, Saurabh, also. Thank you, CA Sarita. Thank you, Iqbal Singh Roverji. Thank you, SP Singh sir. Do write to us, viewers, at sitex@ici.in. Today, we have more than 1,100 participants. This will be also placed on DLH portal. I have already instructed the office to take out all the question answers given by the faculty as well as the questions which have been in this, for building up our background material for this certificate course. So please do write us if you are still hungry of any question, so that we can compile them, and then whenever we are introducing our certificate course, you are the participant there. So with this, thank you very much. Now office is telling me it is more than 1,500. So the tally has increased by last I have seen. Thank you, Kapil, for the updation of the information. Anything else? Otherwise, may I request office to conclude?
The last thing which I would like to add, Sanjay ji, is that hats off to the SciTex team for organizing and for ensuring such a smooth session. I mean, they deserve high accolade for
yes, sir.
this.
Always. Without office, we are nothing, sir. Because we are the public representative. We are coming, going. It is office is those who are permanent.
Exactly.
So it is always continuity with them.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, can I request the office to conclude? Technical team, we may conclude. Thank you very much. Stay safe, stay healthy.
Okay, sir, thank you so much. Thank you everyone for attending.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hello.